Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cameron Gallagher from We Are Film, and today we're talking all about the MicroSeries V-Mount from IndiPro Tools. So, let's get into it. So first off, I want to get across that this is not a sponsored video by IndiPro Tools whatsoever. I actually bought the 270 version that's on the back of the camera right now. And then after reached out and said, hey, listen, we bought a red and they have the red compatible, and went from there. So they did send us this red compatible and the red plate adapter on the back that I'll talk about in a minute. But this video is not sponsored by them whatsoever. It's just something they sent to us. So we'll talk about the good and the bad. So after switching to the red, I really was looking for a new battery solution, mainly because of the size and sort of the voltage that the red needed and some of the accessories we have, which again, I'll touch on more in a little bit. But the biggest reason was the size. The red Komodo itself is a very small camera, and pretty much any V-mount adapter that you get is pretty low profile. So getting a MicroSeries V-mount was kind of a must. So I have the 270 watt hours, the one I bought myself, and then also got the red, this is the red MicroSeries, they call it like red compatible. This is the 150 watt hour version. Now, first off, I want to say that the red compatible version is supposed to be better for making sure that they're going to work with all red cameras, so the V-Raptor, V-Raptor XL, things like that, as well as making sure that the voltage is correct for any type of accessory. So they're definitely a little bit of a bigger load. Also, the amperage is higher on these as well. So if you're using a red camera, and especially like a V-Raptor or something a lot larger, definitely take a look at this red compatible series. But I will say, for the Komodo, and in our case, the regular 270 watt hour battery that I picked up works perfectly fine for the Komodo and perfectly fine for powering all the accessories. You can see that right now we're actually powering the 7-inch Blackmagic 12G SDR monitor, as well as the Tilta Nucleus M follow focus, and of course the camera itself. So there's quite a bit of power being drawn from that battery, and it's working perfectly fine. So that 270 watt hour that's on the back of the camera right now can usually power everything on there for roughly 3 to 4 hours. Usually 4 hours if we're not using, if we're just using a manual follow focus, and about 3 to 3.5 if we're using the Tilta Nucleus M. And that's pretty awesome. And that's a lot of battery life for quite a consolidated battery. Now, obviously the battery is heavy, like it's a battery, so you can't escape the fact that it's a battery. But I gotta say, the 270 watt hour is a pretty good size, and it really works well on the Komodo, especially if you're gonna be on like a tripod like today. If we're doing interviews, stuff like that, it makes a lot more sense to be on something like that. And now this red compatible series battery they sent over is a lot slimmer and really, really, really light. So this is the 150 watt hour, and this guy with the accessories lasts about 2.5, 3 hours, which that may not sound like a lot, but if it was just powering the Komodo itself, it could probably power it for about 4 to 5 hours. Again, with the monitor pulls a lot, especially if we're recording in 12G SDI. So, it kind of depends on what you're using. But the thing is that these are super small and compact. So this thing is really tiny, it's super lightweight, and for 150 watt hours, this is a lot lighter than the 98 Slims that I was using before on the Blackmagic Ursa. So I gotta say, if you're looking into a red battery that's gonna be lightweight and easy to sort of mount really anywhere, this is super useful. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a battery, right? There's not a whole lot we can talk about. Really, when it comes to the only cons that I can see is that there isn't sort of a extra LED indicator, like it doesn't tell you exact percentages or anything like that, no voltage on the side, which it's not really a con, it's just something to keep in mind. The only real downside that I see, and this is just kind of nitpicking, is that it does scrape up and scratch up a lot. We've been using this for the last couple of months, and you can definitely see that it's got some wear and tear on it. And same with the 270 watt hour. Again, I think that's just sort of a thing that's going to happen. Really, any battery does that, but just if you're really into aesthetics, it's just something to keep in mind. Now on the side, there's a USB and a D-tap. So of course, if you wanted to pull an accessory off of that D-tap or power your phone or something else uses USB, you can do that as well, which is really handy and just a nice little feature. That way, if we're in and around, and I can just use this as a battery bank, so I can throw this kind of wherever I need. It does have a power indicator on one side that'll show you these sort of battery stages. Again, this is just kind of a rough estimate. It's not an exact, but I think for most cases, it's more than fine to be able to tell you what general percentage you're at. That's about it. I mean, the V-mount locks in pretty well. It's really well made. Everything overall just feels sturdy. It's still light and something that we can use on smaller rigs. Now, I also want to talk about the custom battery plate that they sent over. So IndiPro Tools also does custom battery plates. So they have some they already have kind of pre-made. I think you can also get custom ones as well, so if you need like a very specific type. But they actually sent over a red specific battery plate that goes on 15mm rods. So you can see that right now I'm using it on the back of the camera, and there is one major advantage to this. So obviously it's really just a V-mount to an adapter. You know, it's not like anything crazy, although I will say it is very well made. The V-mount plate feels nice and sturdy. The cable is coiled, which is really nice. And that kind of brings me to the biggest part of this, which is it allows to create space from your battery and the camera, which on the Red is huge, but also on other rigs, it might be a really, really handy feature. Now in the Komodo's case, there's only one SDI port, it's on the back. There's also the BP battery port, so what you could do is by using this plate, you could use BP batteries and hot swap, so you could have like one BP battery on there, and then that way you can just kind of hot swap the Red batteries, and it's just constantly keeping that charged in essence. That's a huge advantage, but also just being able to take off the SDI cable really easily, because Komodos and a lot of other cameras have the 12G SDI problem where you can fry the camera if you're not taking it out properly. So you're usually taking that on and off fairly consistently throughout the day of a shoot, and having to like remove a special battery plate, or because I've used some other ones, and having to undo something is incredibly difficult. So being able to just take it, move it back if I need to on the 15mm rods, and then move it closer, or just remove it completely and mount it somewhere else. And I did notice on the IndiPro Tools website, there's a lot of other customization you can do. So this isn't just for the Red camera, this is for other cameras and a lot of different systems too. And again, I think they have a full custom shop. So if you're looking for something very specific, you can definitely go in and check that out. So yeah, overall, I've been really, really loving these batteries. And honestly, I've just been incredibly impressed with their size, their weight, and how long they're able to power these cameras for. And to be honest, I'm thinking about picking up another 2 or 3 maybe of these 150 watt hours for the Red camera, because again, being able to power all of those accessories and be so lightweight with this. I mean, this thing is so light. I mean, it's you know, grams, right? It doesn't even feel, if it's a pound, it doesn't feel like it. But being able to move around and be agile with the camera rig, and you know, even for this, like we could potentially put this on a gimbal rig because of how small it is. And that's it. So of course, I'm gonna leave all the links down in the description below for the batteries, for the battery plate, and then just IndiPro Tools website in general. So if you're looking for something specific, go down there, check it out. If you don't have a Red, don't worry about it. They got a lot of different options. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.